I've just come back from 2 party conferences this season. You can guess which one I didn't go to. But it was once said that politics is showbiz for ugly people. And let me tell you, whoever said that was absolutely bang on. If you're a beauty pageant, Westminster ain't the place for you. But as I knocked back the booze, Gaza style, like a fishing rod waiting for a Raoul Moat to turn up, I was struck by the energy and raw grit of the folks at Reform's party conference. And I mean this with all of my heart. It was a sea of ordinary people, not a single corporate lobbyist in sight. There were no big sponsors or professional backslappers trying to sell us the next green revolution while cashing in behind the scenes. Ed Miliband. That's more than I can say for the other lot. The uni-party gatherings were stuffed full of the usual suspects. But this, well, this was real people power. And I loved every minute of it, with a pint in hand from 11 a.m. Now, over at the Conservative Party conference, they were rolling out promises like sweets at Halloween, leave the ECHR, slash foreign aid, take down identity politics, cut migration, and even throw out the outrageous idea that all cultures are equally valid, one that the BBC took great exception to. Does that sound familiar to you at home, though? Well, I wonder. If it does, my friends, that might be because they were clicking copy and paste from the Reform Party manifesto. It's all got me thinking. Why bother with the carbon copy when the real deal is already here? Reform are already delivering with a, well, fraction of the budget, fewer activists, fewer bases around the country, but far more in the way of heart. They're actually winning local election seats, like Martin in Blackpool, where they just ousted Labour with nearly 39% of the vote. My friends, people are waking up, and the Reform Party is the answer. So let us say this loud and clear. I'm not convinced by any of the Tory hopefuls, and I'm not convinced that they can win back the so-called Red Wall with a few sound bites on a Birmingham stage. But Britain needs reform. And there are signs, really evident, it's ready to vote for it. I'm assured that you agree with me.
You know what? I've been nodding away because what's obvious is that there is a groundswell of support that we've seen for reform. I won't be doing that. As you know, I'm a paid-up Labour Party member. Didn't get to go to conference. Actually, haven't been to Labour conference. I've been to Tory conference as part of my job previously. But anyway, I think the problem they have now is translating that groundswell movement into, exactly as you say, seats in the elections that are coming up. Local elections next year, the Senate elections in 2026, actually, where there have been UKIP members previously until very recently. But the problem that they have in doing that is they need a really slick, organised campaign, the like of which that Labour famously used to have really strong grassroots across each constituency, and that is difficult.
Yes.
And they need to make sure that each of those candidates are serious, are on message, know their stuff, while still sticking to exactly what Reform voters want to hear. Yeah. And that's going to be difficult.
Well, I want to put that to Adam, because you follow this every single day as part of your job.
Yeah.
But do you trust that Reform won't end up like UKIP? And what I mean by that is factionalism, arguing with each other.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the whole point of bringing on Zia Yusuf as the chairman is really to manage a lot of this, manage the discipline of the party, fundraising. Basically, he's CEO of Reform Inc., if you like, and that's the point of his job. But you're right. Yeah, they need to do really well in these locals to prove they've maintained that momentum. I think they will. I mean, you know, I do think the energy is there. The conference reflects that. Yeah. Time will tell. But ultimately, the problem is does just keep the right fractured, and therefore under first past the post actually keep Labour in power. But now, I'm not commenting on, you know, what I think, which, fine, whatever. That's just the reality of the first past the post system, isn't it, really?
Yes, it is. It is. And I think that system's outdated and needs to go as well, to be honest. But the question I was going to put to you, Renee, is I don't think, and I focus particularly on the Red Wall, because obviously it's a part of the country that I know pretty well, but I was actually of the view, that the Tories can't easily win back there because people feel fundamentally betrayed. They went out, and some of them for the very first time, many of them for the very first time, voted Conservative in 2019. Now, they feel, I think justifiably so, utterly betrayed.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's easily won back.
So I think there's a double thing going on here, because I don't think that is going to be easily won back for the Tories. But I also think the red wall seats that Labour won, they won purely because of anger on the Tories. And if these people see in their constituencies a groundswell for reform, I think reform will pick up those red wall seats, and then it starts to change.
Yeah, and reform finished second on many of the red wall seats. And unfortunately, as you said, we have a first past the post system in which reform had 4 million votes and they only got 5 seats, whereas they should get 150 seats, and this is not OK for a democracy.
Very briefly, Stephen Pound, the former Labour MP, he says that actually Labour should be more alive to the reform threat. Would you accept that, or do you think actually they ain't ever going to be challengers to reform?
Well, I think that's that's what we'll see now, because I think the Tory party are too toxic, and they will be for a few years. Now, the problem that there is now is there's an enthusiasm gap where reform voters are actually, 67% have a favourable view of reform as a party. It's unheard of. Even after the Labour landslide, only 35% of Labour voters think the same. So actually now Labour need to catch up.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.